Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Dev with Excel. Alright, so in this video we are going to be solving exercise 2.9. That's step 4 of the phone book. So here we are expected to implement a search field that can be used to filter the list of people by name, right? So when we write a text in this search field here, it's going to show names of people that have this text written in this search field as part of their names, right? So here you can see that LA here is written as a text in the search input field, and we can see that here we have Hellas. In Hellas here we have LA. Also in Lovelace we have LA. So this is what we want to be implementing. All right. So in the previous video we solved exercise 2.8. Here we were asked to expand the application such that a person can add their phone numbers to the phone book, which we did. All right, so coming back to the video of today, exercise 2.9, let's head over to the code implementation. Okay, before that, this part here says you can implement the search field as an input element that is placed outside the HTML form. Also, the filtering logic shown in the image is case insensitive, meaning that the search term auto starting with a small a returns the result that contains auto with an uppercase A. So either we put a lowercase a or we put an uppercase A, the name as it is should be returned. So this is not case sensitive, it's case insensitive. All right, so let's head into the code implementation. All right, so what I have here is a setup for step 4 phone book, right? So this is it. And let me confirm if I've seeded into it. Okay, just to be sure, we are going to be copying this part here and then seeding into parts for step 4. Okay, let me go back again to copy. Excuse me. All right. So let's run this. So this should give us what we had in our previous video, right? This should give us what we had in our previous video, which is this. It's loading. So let's be sure if we can add a person's name and a number to this phone. So let's say, all right, so today is Sunday, right? Let's say the name of the person is Sunday, and then his phone number is 23476. Let's click on add. So here we can see we have Sunday 23476, right? So this works. Now we are going to be updating this code so that we can filter out this name, such that in the search input field, if we type something like AY, Sunday here should be returned because the name Sunday here contains AY. All right, so let me minimize this and then do the same thing here. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to at first populate this person's array such that we'll be having more than these names, right? So that when we search, our search should be able to return values that are a bit much, right? So we won't be faced with just one object. All right, so let's go back to the instruction and see if we can copy some data. So we are working with exercise 2.9. So let's copy this data. This is already given to us in the instruction to use. So we are going to be copying this and then we use it to replace what we have here. So we take this away and we paste what we just copied. So I just saved it. Let's see if that is rendered on the browser properly. All right, so here we can see that we have this properly rendered on the browser. All right, so next thing we need to do is to go to app.jsx. Let's create an input field here that helps us to search for any name here, right? So we come here, we can just duplicate what we have here. So here, let's duplicate what we have for the name and then we edit it to become a search input, right? So something like this. So we are going to place it outside the form. Now this is start of the form field, right? So we've placed this outside the form. So we are going to change name here to, let's call it search, and then we are going to be taking out this, because for now we don't need this. For now we are going to be implementing that very soon. Okay, so this is saved now. At this point, if we try to type anything here, it doesn't return any filtered names, right? We are going to be working on that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to come here to create a new state, right? So we are going to call that state, let's call it search person, and then set search person. So we say const search person, and then we are going to copy this, and then we have set search person. Then this is going to equal to useState, and it should return an empty string by default. All right, so the next thing we want to do is um, we need to, now this search person here, it represents more like the ability to type into this search field here, right? So what we type here, it should represent this search person. So for now, it's an empty string, right? For instance, if I put in, let me write testing here, and I save. Okay, nothing happens for now. Okay, so let's just leave that for now. Let's see what to do next. Let's try to work on this in such a way that we can type into this box and it's going to return filtered names, right? All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to come down to this part here. I want to create a kind of function that is going to handle this search person, right? So we are going to be writing a function, and we are going to call that function, let's call it let's call it here we have handle number chain. Let's call it handle search person. Let's call it handle search person. So what this is going to do is that, let's first of all, let's copy this, and then let's paste it, and then let's edit. So here we are simply going to change this to handle search person, and then we can just put change, or let's just leave it that way. Handle search person. Then here we console log event.target.value, which represents the values to be passed inside this part here. All right, so here we are going to be changing this set new number to set search person. So we copy that and we come here, we change this to set search person. All right, so having done this, for the input part here, we can just quickly come and then put in this state, search person state, as a value for the input. So we simply just put value here and then copy into it the search person. All right, so we have this. Now, when we come back to our input field here, we are not allowed to make any changes, right? We can't edit this part. So I am currently trying to type in something into this box here, but it's not allowing me, because having put in this value, we need to put another attribute called unchange, right? And the value to the unchange should be what's we are trying to work on here should be this function, but the function is yet to be fully implemented. So what we need to do next is we need to write a code that is going to help us with the filtering of names that contain the text written in this search input, right? So what we can write is we are going to say persons. Now this persons here, we understand that is the person we have here, the array persons here, right? Which is referenced from this props.persons, right? We can see that props.persons here is the default for this person state, right? Why this set persons is the function that helps to kind of handle this state, right? Okay, so we come here and then we say persons dot filter. Now we are using the filter method, right? Now persons dot filter, then the parameter to be passed in, let's call it person. Here you can choose to call it whatever thing you want to call it, but you make sure that anything you call it is what you use, right? Then the next thing you want to do is we are going to be targeting the name in this person. Now this is what I mean now. These persons here is this persons we have here. Then this person here is the iterated form of each of the persons. So this person we have here simply means this person as an object one, this person as an object two, this person as a third object, this person as a fourth object. So to get this, we are simply going to say person without the S. That's this person here dot name. That's to target Ato Hellas. If we want to target this, we are still going to say person dot name, not persons at this point. All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to say we want to be sure that this person here, which is called Ato Hellas here, the Ada Lovelace we have here, Dan Abramov and Mary Poppendick here, we want to be sure that it's not, or okay, it's being filtered, right, based on the text given in the search input, right? So we are going to write person dot name, then we are going to be using the includes method, then we say dot includes. Now this is going to include whatever we are trying to write inside this input, which is the event dot target dot value. Let's save this and see. All right, so here we have persons dot filter. Now person dot name dot includes event dot target dot value. So what this means is that whatever text we are writing inside this input field, right, is going to search and then search for any names that contain the text written here. That's what this means. Then we are going to be assigning this to a variable name. So let's call it, let's say const, let's call it filter items. Okay, let's call it filter items. Then we save this. Now we are going to be using these filter items inside a particular function, right? But before then, let's copy this handle search person and then let's paste it here as the unchanged attribute. So let's save this. Now our code should be able to make edits. Let's see. Okay, now we can edit this part of our code, right? Initially, before we placed in this unchanged attribute, we were not able to make this edit, right? So we are progressing in a way. All right, so now let's see how to work on these filter items. We need to create another state. Now in this state, this state is what is going to help us to implement the filter logic itself. So let's call it, let's say const, then let's call it filtered person, and then we copy it. So for this part, we are going to be calling it set filtered person. Then we assign it to a use state, which is going to be having the value of every object in this array, right? So for the filtered person here is going to be having the value of every object in this array here. So this works almost the same way as these persons and set persons, but in this case we are having filtered items, right? So we are simply going to copy this props dot persons here, and then we paste it here. All right, so let's save this and see. Now we've saved this, right? Now coming down to this part here, we have filtered items. Now this filtered items is going to be handled by the set filtered person. So we copy this and then we come to this part, replacing the set filtered person, and then inside of it we are going to be adding the filtered items. So we save that. For now, nothing should happen for now. Let us try and see. Nothing is happening yet. All right, so the next thing we want to do is, as we can see here in this part of our code, we are mapping from the persons, right? So this is not getting the understanding that we need to filter based on the text written here. So we are going to be changing this persons to, we change it to filtered person. So we initially use this persons here, but now we are going to be using this filtered person. So we copy this code and then we come here and then add the code here. We save. Let's refresh. Okay, so we typed E. Every of these names here have E. Let's type L. We have EL because here we have EL. For Lovelace also we have EL. For the moment we type A, we have ELA, that's ELA. Now if we remove that A there, we still have this and this. If I type L next, we are going to be having ELL, which matches with ELL in Hellas. So Ato Hellas should be returned if I should add that. If I should add that L. All right, so adding that L, we can see that Ato Hellas is returned. Now let's check another thing. Let's type Hellas with small h. Nothing comes up, right? Because at the moment, the way we implemented our code is case sensitive. So we are going to make our code to be case insensitive, right? So that's what we'll be doing next. All right, so the next thing we want to do before we actually do that, we need to edit this part of our code. We need to add in something. So just as we have set persons, then adding to it, we have persons.concat name object. We are going to be working for the filtered person as well. So we come to the next line and say set filtered person. Then we are trying to add the name and the phone number of anybody here into the filtered person states, which is this. So here we simply just come in and say filtered person dot concat then name object. So if you should look at this very well, we are going to observe that this filtered person and set filtered person is almost working like the persons and the set person states, right? But the difference is that this one is being filtered based on the input we get in the search box, right? So that's just the gist. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to work on the case insensitivity of our code, right? So where do we do that? Okay, so we are supposed to do that here. So we are going to be, so the idea we want to do is that we are going to be converting every names here to lowercase, and also we are going to be converting every input we want to write here to lowercase. That's just the idea. But in the code, the code that in the database, right? The database is sequenced as standard. Atohela starts with a capital A and a capital H for the surname. But we, while trying to do the code implementation in the background, we first of all convert every string here to lowercase, and then we match it to every lowercase input that we have here. Even if we type an uppercase here, it converts it to a lowercase. That's the idea. So here we just come in and say dot to lower case, then adding a bracket. So we are going to be doing the same thing here. Here we say dot to lowercase. So we have it here already. Then just placing the round bracket. So let's save this and see. So we've saved that. Let's refresh this. Now let's see if we type small h, if this is going to get returned. All right, so we can see that we have Atohela's returned and its phone number also. So let's see if we can return OV here. So this is going to give us Dan Abramov. Let's begin with O. We have O. So every names here contain O. O is here, O is here, O is here, and then O is here. Now the next we want to type is V. So this gives us OV in Lovelace and then OV in Abramov. Now, when I type E, it should automatically give us Ada Lovelace. Let's type E, Ada Lovelace. But when I type a space, let's see what happens. A space, nothing happens because a space is also a character, right? But here, there's no space here. So this is going to return this. But when I add M here, at the start of the string, we have Dan Abramov. All right, so it seems that our code works very, very well, just as expected. That's we're expected to do this in this instruction. All right, so let's be very sure that everything works well and then nothing breaks. Let's check the names of GSX. Okay, this works fine. All right, so the next thing we want to do is let's just write the code in almost exact way which it is given. So here we are expected to have phone book at the top. Then under the phone book, we are expected to have filter shown with, right? Phone book filter shown with. All right, so let's just come here and then go to the form. So it's going to start with phone book, and instead of search here, we put in filter shown with. Now we are not actually we are not expected to actually write it word for word, right? But I'm just trying to be playful here. So here we have filtered with, right? Let's see, that's what we have. Okay, we have filtered with, filtered shown with. All right. So the next thing before the name and number, you want to have a add new. You want to have a add new. All right. So before the name and number, I want to have a add new. So we can just write that in an h2 tag. So we do h2, then write add new, add a new. Okay, add a new. So this is what we have here. So once again, we don't have to do that word for word, but I just decided to do that. Okay, all right. So let's go again. Let's be sure that our code runs well. Let's add some names and numbers to our program. Let's call it Monday, Tuesday, right? So this is the name of the person, and then this is the surname, assuming there's a name like that. All right, so the next thing we want to write is the phone number. Let's say we have 536-98. So let's add this and see. So we have this, right? Now let's let's search and see if we have any names that contain es. So let's type E. So every name here have E inside of them. Then let's type S next. So we can see that we have Monday, Tuesday, 53698 as the filtered name, right? So our code works very, very well. All right, so at this point, I'll say thanks for joining in this video and see you in the next one. Bye.